Dr. Ruth MacPete is here to talk about diabetes, a problem. It turns out, I mean, we know people can get diabetes. Our dogs and cats can too. Who knew?
Yes, a lot of people actually are unaware of the fact that diabetes is so prevalent in pets. It's actually estimated that 1 in 200 cats suffers from diabetes worldwide, and it is on the rise. Unfortunately, we're seeing more and more diabetic cats as we see an increase in obesity in our cats because obesity predisposes cats to diabetes just like it does humans.
Yeah, new numbers are fairly new that I'm sure you know about, Dr. Ruth MacPete, who writes for Cat Fancy magazine, but you might not know about, and that is that over half our pets, dogs and cats, are overweight.
Yes.
And while the numbers vary a little depending on whose statistic you read, 1 in every 5 of those is downright obese.
Yes. And it's really sad because unfortunately, while a chubby pet may be a cute pet, we really are, predisposing them to diseases like diabetes. And so we really need to watch what we're feeding our pets, how much we're feeding them, and make sure that they're still getting exercise as well.
That's a lot to take in all at one time. So what is the link between being overweight and being diabetic? I mean, are you almost guaranteed to have a diabetic cat?
Not guaranteed, but definitely more likely. Diabetes is a multifactorial disease. So age plays a role, genetics is a big component, and then weight is another thing. And so obviously we can't do anything about changing our genetics or our cat's genetics, but what we can do is obviously watch their weight because we know from looking at humans as well as cats that the risk of diabetes really increases if they become heavy or obese.
You mentioned exercise, and people think, exercise my cat? How in the world would I do that? But actually, you can.
Yes, and I know you're an expert at that. But
Yes.
yeah, exercising your cat, a lot of people are always surprised, but there's a number of different things you can do. I recommend that people get a laser pointer. It's good fun for the cat and for the human parent involved. And, move the laser pointer around for 20 minutes, get them moving. You can also do things with food where you make their food bowl elevated so the cat has to jump to get it. If you live in a 2-story house, putting the food on a different level from where they sleep, so they have to do a little stairmaster in between. But there's a lot of different things you can do. I know you sometimes takes your cat for a walk.
Who wouldn't?
So
Yes, on a leash and harness.
So
All right, so let's say now the veterinarian, Dr. MacPete, you're talking to a client, and you say, your cat is diabetic. Then what does that mean? It's not a death sentence.
No, and you said it perfectly. That's the most important thing is that people realize that it isn't a death sentence. It's a treatable, manageable condition, and it's something that we can treat with medication as well as diet and weight loss. So yeah, definitely not the end of the world if people hear that. And initially, people obviously are very panicked to hear that their cat is diabetic.
Same treatment as for people, essentially, insulin?
Yes. With cats, we typically manage it again with a diet, usually a low-carb, high-protein diet, weight loss, and then also insulin. And we're very fortunate to have Prozinc, which is the only FDA-approved insulin for cats, designed specifically for cats, available to help us regulate these guys.
Which is advantageous, too. I mean, you wouldn't want to just randomly use. And with the economy being what it is, I know I've gotten these letters from my newspaper column. I'm just going to use my insulin and take a guess at what you could do more harm that way.
Yes, absolutely. You never want to do that. You can actually make an animal hypoglycemic, which can be fatal. So you always want to talk to your veterinarian, make sure you get the diagnosis, make sure that they're helping you regulate the cat and that the signs and symptoms of hypoglycemia or too much insulin.
Are you concerned as a veterinarian about the misinformation that's out there about diabetes or, for that matter, everything else?
Yeah, unfortunately, the internet can be a good thing and a bad thing, and it's hard for people to always know where they can turn and what they can look at for reliable information. There's a great website about diabetes, mycathasdiabetes.com, that gives people a lot of information about diabetes, classic signs and symptoms to look for, information about treatment, and of course, don't forget your veterinarian. It's a great place to get more information.
Dr. MacPete, thank you so much. That's absolutely true. Great website, mycathasdiabetes.com.